So in all of the ancient textbooks, they all say nothing moves stagnation in the body better than cupping.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Evolving Ageless. Remember, we are the enlightened woman's antidote to aging. I'm Michelle Dreilich. I'm the host of Evolving Ageless, and I am on a mission to change the way women age. That's it. It's a tall order, but each week I'll be joined by experts in their field that are going to bring us the latest and greatest research to help us really live ageless, right? So my guest today is Lisa Dowling. Lisa is an East Asian Medicine Practitioner, and she's spent the last few years actually training other practitioners in a new method that she's created specifically for anti-aging. She developed this curriculum, and it's called facial cupping. And it's part of the Eastern Asian medicine philosophy to use cupping, but she's using it in a way that actually helps women improve the way they age. All right. So in addition to that, this method of facial cupping, the way I understand it, will help with scars, chronic sinusitis or sinus infections, headaches, in addition to changing skin texture and things like that. So I'm so excited to have Lisa here and joining us. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, Michelle. I'm great. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Great.
So I'm really excited that you're here because the topic of Eastern medicine is so fascinating. I know that I've absolutely benefited from it, but I'm not sure how familiar most women are with this form of medicine. And so I know that acupuncture is a piece of it, herbs are a piece of it, but I would love it if you could just take a minute and explain to all of us exactly what the East Asian medical philosophy is all about.
Sure. Well, East Asian medicine, interestingly enough, it really is about being really in tune with nature. Of course, 5,000 or more years ago, when they were developing the medicine, it's all they had was what was in front of them. So the whole philosophy and all of the medicine was trial and error for thousands of years. So, what you see with East Asian medicine is herbs that grow locally in your garden. You eat the food that grows where you live in the season that you're in, and it's a very natural approach. So, the herbal medicine was one of the first techniques that was really developed because it came actually from food from the earth and again from experimentation. Now, in terms of acupuncture and cupping, there's a little bit of mystery or discussion around how it started. But cupping therapy, if anyone has experienced cupping therapy or seen it, really was the first ever modality, if we want to call it. If you think about it, your pet or your child has a boo-boo, has an ouchie, and the first thing they do is they suck it, they put it in their mouth and they lick it. So this is something that I have kind of philosophized. I may actually do more research on it, that as mammals, it's just our natural instinct to also, you think about where babies get, mammals get their nourishment from sucking. So it's like this natural ingrained thing that we just know that it gives us comfort and it helps us. So, we can thank ourselves, our babies, our instincts for developing this medicine. Now, over time, as they started to use it more, they realized they needed tools to help them out because maybe there was a body part that you couldn't reach, or there was some kind of infection under the skin that they wanted to draw out, and obviously they didn't want to take it into their own mouth. And so tools started to develop. But the other thing that happened was they noticed that the skin would sometimes break and there'd be a little bit of bleeding. So they actually, believe, it's my belief that this is also where acupuncture started, is they started to realize that sometimes if they make a little break in the skin, a small puncture, that they could create some kind of relief in the area. And the Chinese, being the incredible scholars that they were, it was always part of how things were done. They wrote everything down, right? They took notes of everything for thousands of years. So that's how it started.
Oh my gosh. So I had no idea. So I've had cupping performed on me. So cupping, if you're not familiar with it, it looks like a glass, almost like a fish bowl. They could be very small or they could be pretty big, like a real fish bowl. And why don't you explain the process of cupping? But that explanation was amazing. I've never heard it kind of compared to what we do to soothe our own wounds. That's really cool. But explain what's done, what the act is, and
Sure.
then we can get into kind of how it works because I think it's so fascinating.
Sure. So, um, well, originally it was an animal horn or a piece of bamboo was used. And what they would do is actually place it on the body and make a small hole and suck, right?
Hmm.
And suck until something was released. And then at some point in time in history, they realized that if they had a solid object, that they could place fire inside, and the fire would pull the air out and create a vacuum inside of the cup.
Hmm.
So the whole theory is that it's suction created by vacuum or negative pressure. So for thousands of years, that was created with fire. So up until very recently, the tools that were used were ceramic, glass, bamboo, animal horns, and then I think it was in the 50s. The Russian and Chinese governments got together and they created a whole bunch, massive studies on cupping therapy. And the Chinese developed plastic cups that actually have a gun that draws the air out. And then
Mm.
the Russians went to rubber and then eventually silicone. And so with the plastic ones, you use the gun to pull the air out. With the silicone and the rubber, you actually just push the air out because they're flexible to give
Mm.
them a little
Mm.
squeeze. In Chinese medicine school, we learned with glass cups, and then sometimes they'd say, "Oh, just do the same thing with plastic," and they kind of went with it. It was just a few years ago that I discovered silicone cups, and this is literally when all of this started when I started to build all these courses in the curriculum with these flexible cups. The different things that you can do with them. It's like a whole new world.
Oh, wow. I can imagine because I've had cupping performed with glass globes
Mhm.
and there was fire involved,
Yeah.
right? So she would light a match, the practitioner, and put it in the globe and then pull it out and then put the cup on and move it around.
Mhm.
Incidentally, I think it's worth saying I used acupuncture extensively when I was trying to conceive and while I was pregnant. And right before a major event related to having children, I had pneumonia. And they were concerned. I needed to have surgery, and they were concerned about the pneumonia actually delaying the surgery. And it was all related to my infertility and the history of going through all the challenges with infertility. And so we were in a panicked state on what to do. And that's when my acupuncturist said, "We've got to do cupping, and we'll do it frequently leading up to your surgery." And even the doctors that the surgeon that was performing the surgery was in disbelief that she thought for sure the procedure would have been canceled. She said, "I've never seen anyone come back from a case of pneumonia like that so quickly and be healthy enough to undergo surgery and anesthesia." So for me, it was really amazing in a very key point in my life. So I think it's fascinating that we're now applying these, or a couple of things. One, the idea that silicone can be used because plastic has such a strange thing, the chemicals in it and the if it's drawing things out, what can get into the skin. But I love the idea of silicone. It's so relatively clean on the outside of our bodies. And what sounds really cool is it sounds like you don't need that fire, right? So it's kind of hard to do something to yourself when you've got to light a match, blow the match out, create the negative pressure and then stick it on and move it around, right?
Definitely. Yeah, the silicone, I mean, it's great for self-care, as you mentioned. I put cups on myself all the time after a long day and just relieve some tension. And, I can be making dinner and have cups on my hips and my shoulders. And the silicone, again, because it's syllable, they're very flexible. So the other thing about it is you can get into a lot more um, range of motion and really releasing
Mm-hmm.
things in a way that, the glass cups just, they don't move. There's no flexibility in their shape. So also
Mm-hmm.
the body part has to be fairly flat where you apply them. It's a little bit limiting. So it's really opened a lot of doors for this modality.
So you said something interesting. I want to follow along with it. You said it releasing things. So let's talk about how cupping is really how it works. What the philosophy is behind it and what it's doing. Both we could talk about it in an Eastern Asian way, and then we can try to apply that even to the way we think and what we understand in the West about our understanding of the body and disease and things like that.
Sure. So in all of the ancient textbooks, they all say nothing moves stagnation in the body better than cupping. Like this is something that is across the board in all, cupping was written up in the most ancient textbooks that exist. It's on the hieroglyphics in tombstones in Egypt, right? It's something that has been known since the beginning of time. But what is stagnation really is the question. And this is something that I've been answering for a long time. I don't like the word at all. Even in my Chinese medicine practice, I don't use the word stagnation because people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that they have stagnation. We all have some kind of congestion in our body. It's inevitable. And so when we have an injury or we have some kind of imbalance in the body, like maybe we're eating foods that aren't great for our diet, we're not digesting very well, right? The body starts to make more fluid and mucus, and it gets more dense, this mucus, as there's particles in it. So this can create some congestion. And for some people, their food allergies actually show up in chronic sinusitis, for example, or it could be a physical injury in the body where they've had inflammation and not all of the inflammation was removed, or there was a little bit of, muscle tearing. And so there's a few blood cells in the area that are left there. So normally we just go through our life and our lymphatic system does a very good job of clearing this out, but it can't always get all of it. So when we apply cupping to these areas, whether it's sinus congestion or lymphatic or even food in the abdomen or an injury, a muscle injury, a lung issue, it's amazing for lung issues. The negative pressure from the cup, what is happening when it pulls the tissue into the cup. Now there's a lot of studies on this, but a lot of the studies that were done in the past aren't evidence-based, and they don't fall into what people consider the ideal platform for a study. But what is across the board is really clear is that it draws in from inside of the body. So recent studies that came out said it can draw in as much as 6 centimeters with the deepest suction to the
Mm,
body. So as it's creating that suction, it's doing a few things. It's helping the elasticity of the blood vessels, right? Because it's creating a kind of it's like pulling an
sure.
elastic, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's strengthening the blood vessels. It's drawing out any blood cells that have escaped the blood vessels and are in the tissues, like maybe around the muscle fibers. It's helping to line up the fibrous tissue that lays down after an injury. So that's like collagen fiber. So that's
Hmm.
scars, right? We don't think about like pulling a muscle and it being scarring, but that's scar tissue as well. So it helps clear
And
up.
that will impact our range of motion, right? When we've got
Exactly.
scar
Oh, yeah.
tissue that builds up and it makes us kind of close in on ourselves over time.
Big
Yeah.
time.
That's
Big
really
time.
cool.
Yeah. So you see huge improvements. Like range of motion is probably one of the biggest immediate, and pain relief are
Mhm.
immediate changes that you see as soon as you perform cupping therapy. Like no
It
other.
also seems it also seems like there's some level of micro trauma that's happening, and we know that, at least, and I'm applying like my Western mind to it, that that's when our immune system responds and cleans things up, right? We
Exactly.
know that the best way to stimulate, there are things like PRP and microneedling. It's creating stimuli that is causing very micro damage that our immune system kind of wakes up and says, let me go in there and clean that up,
Right,
because that's what
exactly.
our immune system does. And
Mhm.
so it's a way really to stimulate our immune system, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Yep,
That
for
is so
sure.
cool.
Yeah. And
That's
so,
really neat.
but at the same time, I mean, the immune system, but the lymphatic system is really a big, and also the circulatory system, right? Like our blood,
Yes,
our blood doesn't flow as well in areas where there's congestion. So
that
it
makes
helps,
sense.
yeah, it helps increase the blood flow and that lymphatic flow. Same with the sinuses, and and then we start to move into the face, right? And what it's doing on the face. And quite frankly, the first time I saw someone doing facial cupping, I was a little bit, more than a little bit skeptical until I received it myself the first time. And then I was completely blown away by it. And I knew I needed to work on it and
Wow.
develop something. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Sometimes,
great. So let's talk about that, because now that we understand kind of what cupping does, both on an Eastern Asian philosophical sense, and then what it's doing physically in our bodies. And just to make a point, lymph, right? When we talk about lymph, like the circulatory system, blood flows through arteries and veins. We know that, right? That's the way nutrients and oxygen get passed around in our bodies. Lymph is interesting. Lymph is where it's a fluid that moves through our lymphatic system in our bodies, but it doesn't have a pump like we have a heart. So the way to move lymph around is to move. It doesn't have to be intense exercise. It can be walking, but movement moves lymph around, right? And so cupping is actually stimulating movement even in the body. So I can see how lymph could be drawn through those areas as well. And that's one of the reasons why we always say, no matter what your age is or even your fitness level, movement is important. People who are
absolutely.
bedridden do not have a good immune system because their
Mhm.
lymph is stagnant. Their lymph can't move.
Yeah.
And so that's an excellent point that you make. And it makes a lot of sense. So now let's get back to face, because
Yeah.
this is what we're all in it for, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
want to know, so facial cupping, I assume the cups are really tiny, yeah?
They are. They're very. There's a few different sizes, going from like really teeny tiny to really small. And again, there's glass ones. I should have brought them. There's a glass ones with a little pump on the end, or there's a silicone one. So
Mhm.
depending, some seem to work a little better on some people than others. But the thing that people need to understand, because it really freaks them out, is most people, when they hear cupping therapy, they have this immediate idea or image of a cupping mark, right? Of this big red
Yes,
mark.
black and blue, or
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
right. Uh-huh.
The first thing I need to say is that what I'm teaching people is how to not do that on people's faces, right? Like, that is the
Right.
number one rule of facial cupping, is to make sure that the techniques that you're using to apply the cups are not creating cupping marks. So,
Mhm.
because that is definitely, as people hear about it, they're like, why would I do that on my face? I don't want those marks on my face. So, this is
It's a great
why,
point you make. If you've ever watched, I know, like if you watch the Olympics, if you watch, world swimming competitions, gymnastics, you can see bruising, sometimes in lines on the back,
yeah.
especially swimmers. You usually see it
Mhm.
during the Olympics with swimmers. And I know gymnasts, my daughter's a gymnast. So I know that the collegiate gymnasts will sometimes wear tape over the bruising on their back because it's alarming. But again, that's deep, deep tissue stuff that they're
Exactly.
working on with
Yeah.
muscle. So what you're
Yeah.
talking about is a much lighter touch, much lighter suction or
Yeah.
negative pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, my entire cupping program is all about teaching people how to back off and meet the body where it's at. But that's, another story. So
Yeah.
when you're treating the face, the first thing you want to do is you want to open up the lymph. And the lymph is very, very close to the surface of the skin. So the amount of suction that we're placing on the face, it's literally, like I say to my students, it's like a little tiny baby kiss. You know those little
Mm.
kisses, those little wet kisses that baby give you? Like that. That's what it should be like. And if it's giving any more suction than that, then it's too much. So
Got
so
it.
what we do is we apply them. We want to follow the lymph. So the lymph goes, there's a major lymph section just above the clavicle, right? The
Hmm.
collarbone here. And then there's a lymph triangle. I'm on camera here. Reverse. There's like a triangle here around the jaw. So whenever we're cupping
Oh,
on the face, we're always leading toward the lymphatic triangle.
so it can drain, it can clear from there.
Exactly. So
Ah.
so what happens is, a lot of women, people in general, of course, but I think women are a little bit more focused on their skin and their well-being. That I know that's changing a lot, so I may have to change my language up a little bit around this. But basically, anti-aging, but also lines, discolorations, dark circles under the eyes. All of these things are all, a lot of the time it's like different congestion in areas of your body. So you can see I have not done facial cupping on myself for a little while, but if I demonstrated it, these bags would be gone, right? Same with the
Wow.
sinuses. Like you put the cups directly over top of the sinuses and just as if you're plunging them, really. So you kind of put it on with a
Mm.
little more suction, but you don't want to keep it long. I mean, I've done it on myself. I did it on myself once when I had a bad cold and I was going to fly. And I
Mm.
literally said, I don't even care if I have marks. I need a
Yes,
clear
right.
head to fly. And so I went to town on my sinuses. That I wouldn't do that on a client necessarily unless I had their permission.
Mhm.
But I could actually feel it. And I have a video of it. And like my facial expression as I could feel the sinus just kind of draining down
Mhm.
into my throat. Like as I was doing it, I could feel it. It's so
Wow.
incredibly powerful. And when you have the treatment on your face, you may think, well, my face feels good. And then once you have the treatment and you literally, your face feels lighter. Like it just, so that pressure, you may not even realize you have a small headache because you have it all the time until it's not there anymore, or sinus pressure until it's actually
Wow.
gone.
That
Yeah.
makes so much sense. I mean, think of it in terms of, um, you can have like a Thanksgiving or a holiday meal where there's a little bit more sugar than you're used to, a lot more salt than you're used to. We've all woken up feeling puffy, right? So
Mhm.
what you're saying is not a foreign concept. It makes complete sense that
Yeah.
we're talking about, congestion, fluid building up in the skin and how to clear that out. That's
Yeah.
really cool. So how did you okay, so you've discovered this idea, like people have been cupping on the face for a while, but maybe not applying it to things like anti-aging necessarily. I'd love to hear about that.
Well, again, a lot of this stuff comes from personal experiences. And so 3 years ago, I was traveling all over North America teaching. I was gone 2 weeks out of four traveling, and it was really hard on my body. And one of the things I was doing was teaching teachers to teach these courses. And so they would come on the courses with me, and I'd get them to demonstrate techniques on me. And so for about 2 months, I was traveling and I was actually having the treatments done on my face. And, and I keep running into people I know and they're like, my gosh, like, how do you look so good? You're working so much and so hard and da 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 da. And I was like, I don't know. It's not because it's not fresh air and exercise, that's for sure. Like, I was really pushing myself really hard at this point in time. And it clicked on me. I'm like, yeah, because I'm literally getting facial cupping every week. And
Mm.
and I looked, and I started to look more closely and I'm like, yeah, like the lines gone. I have pretty good skin anyways. I mean, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I might be a little older than you think, right? I'm kind of lucky. My mom, she has beautiful skin as well, but it really, I really noticed on my face. So of course, I offered it up to everybody, all my clients and everyone, and I wanted to see the difference. And the worse condition someone's skin in, the greater the result, right? So I have
Wow.
had people come in like smokers, people who've smoked for a
Mhm.
long time, um, and do one side of their face, and it's just astounding the changes.
Wow.
Yeah, even people, like I had a well-known performer. I did facial cupping on him, and the cups were really stuck. They weren't moving. So I was having to, change up my technique a little bit. And I'm like, what is this all about? And then it dawned on me. I'm like, did you wear makeup on stage? Yeah, hasn't been on stage in years, but this is all clogged up in the lymph,
Oh,
right? And it's just stuck
wow.
there. And you wouldn't notice looking at him, right? Like you don't
And stage
notice.
makeup is so thick. It's so yes, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not light by any means.
Yeah. So, you really you notice the greatest change on, because it's interesting because I find it's often like really young and beautiful people who want the procedures done. And obviously it helps and it gives them more radiance and the eyes look bright and, it lifts the eyebrows and it puffs the lips up and, all these little things as well as working on, the lines and wrinkles and discolorations. But where you really notice it is people who have skin issues, skin problems, scarring from other treatments, or just general aging.
Wow.
So yeah.
What a
So it's
great find. What I love about what you're suggesting, Lisa, is that it's not these expensive serums where we're not sure what's in them or what kind of chemicals we're using, or it's just really what nature has available to us. Going back to what you said at the very beginning, right? Which is this Eastern philosophy toward using what is present around us and on our earth, right? And the idea that something as seemingly simple as cupping has such a deep rooted way that it's working, right? The coming up with this method. I mean, I know cupping is centuries or yeah, centuries old, thousands and thousands of years old, but the idea of applying it in a way that just isn't necessarily treating a disease, so to speak, but it's prevention. It's keeping us in a state of health, right? Which is what this is all about. Everything we talk about on Evolving
mm,
Ageless is about how do we find our way, just even if it's a simple inch closer to living our optimal health. And this is one of those ways that I think may uh, makes sense for a lot of people and may be intriguing to people who are open to the idea of applying some of these Eastern Asian ways.
mhm.
So on evolvingageless.com, under this podcast, you'll see information all about Lisa, about how she trains people to do this, about where we can get even our own cups, right? Because you teach people how to do this to themselves too, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And I know you were kind enough to even offer, if anyone is interested, there's a discount even on the products on your site. If anyone from the Evolving Ageless tribe is interested in actually trying this out on themselves. But I just think it's wonderful for you to really give to women a tool that allows us to kind of be empowered by the way we take care of our skin and our health. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting. I think for me when I was younger, I didn't really think about, aging very much. So I
Mm,
was
you
always,
did.
yeah, exactly. Clinically, I was always just really trying to help people with their pain. And it never occurred to me that this is something that I should consider offering. And since I've started offering it, it's very popular and in demand. And I mean, as a practitioner, it's an amazing thing to be doing because you're giving people really, I mean, you're really helping them. And it's a very different way of helping them, but they're very appreciative. But the beauty of it is again, with this online course, it teaches you to do it yourself. The investment is less than one facial,
Yeah,
right?
wow, that's
And it's something
fantastic.
that you have there. And it's literally like you can do 2 minutes a day to maintain an amazing complexion.
Oh, how
Right.
cool
And
is that?
yeah, and I think, a lot of women are spending more than 2 minutes a day already on their facial regime. It's very easy to add in. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lisa, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your expertise, for giving us that history that really brought to light exactly what's happening when we use cupping as an ancient form of of stimulating the immune system, the circulatory system, and enhancing our health. Thank you so much. And be sure to check out evolvingageless.com. Check out the show notes on this conversation with Lisa and any other links that are related to Lisa and what she does. Thanks again, Lisa. It was so great having you here.
Thanks, Michelle. It was wonderful.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye, everyone.